Hello everyone, welcome to LRDIprep. My name is Sandeep Sudana. I'm a plus educator on Unacademy, teaching students live on Unacademy Plus for CAT exam. I'm teaching students for quantitative aptitude and logical reasoning and data interpretation. Today we have with us Shekhar Suman, who is currently studying in IIFT, Delhi. And now that IIFT interview dates are out, tentatively from 15th of April, IIFT interview will start. And today we are going to have a discussion on how you should be preparing for IIFT interviews. What are the important points that you need to know specifically for IIFT interview that you will be sitting for. So, hi Shekhar, welcome to the session.
Hello, sir. Thank you.
How are you? Yeah, hi
Yes,
Shekhar.
sir.
How are you?
Hello, sir. Hello. I'm good, sir. I'm good.
Okay, so Shekhar, I want to talk about IIFT interview process. You yourself have gone through the process last year. What do you think? What is different in IIFT? A student who is sitting for IIFT interview, what do you think they should specifically know for IIFT interviews?
Yes, sir. So for the different part, I would say that it's quite visible in the name itself. So the trade part of the IIFT is very unique. And always for someone who is not very directly linked to trade should be able to explain why he or she wants to enter into a college which has a specialty in trade. So the professors will always ask from them, why do you want to join specifically a trade college? And you should be able to show some interest in trade and why international trade specifically. Based on that, since you are going to show some interest in trade, you should be able to be familiar with some of the trade terms as well, like bill of lading or how the international trade happens, why it happens. Some basic questions should be known. So that's one thing very different. Apart from that, like all other B school interviews, you should be able to say, who you are and what your goals are. The more clear you are in your goals and your own identity, the chances would be more.
All right. Talking about your interview experience, can you just specify some questions that were asked to you that you personally found are specifically linked for only IIFT interviews? Like you said that students need to know the terms like bill of lading and all. So, what are these type of questions that students should be preparing themselves for if they're going for IIFT interview?
So, sir, basically, I am a marine engineer, and having been part of a trade, it was not difficult for me to explain why I want to join a trade college. But that's the very reason because of which I was not asked many questions about trade, why I want to join IIFT only. Rather than that, I was asked why I wanted to do MBA. So if you are not very much linked, then only you would be asked about the trade part. Having said that, a few of my friends have been asked the same question about the trade. They were asked, why do you think trade is important in the world, in between the countries, and how important it is? Why do you think trade happens? And can you say, what would you consider while being an exporter? What factors will you consider in exporting to a certain country? So these are some questions. Apart from that, of some terminologies like economic terms of some trade theories, basics, and bill of lading, letter of credit, payment terms. They would even be asked in some cases about Incoterms, in case you're saying you are too much interested about trade.
All right. And
So I
what
think
about
there needs to be a balance between how interested you are and how much you know.
okay. What about the whole process? I mean, do we have a GD or group exercise kind of thing in IIFT interview? Any idea on this?
So this time it's going to be online, so it would be different from the last time. But last time it was GD. Instead of that, it would be extempore this time. And that's the only difference it would be.
So there's
And
no
apart
GD
from that,
this year.
no, sir, there would be no GD. Instead of that, there would be extempore part added in the interview itself. So I think the VAT part is common to all. So the questions, the strategy for the VAT would be the same. But the GD part would be replaced by extempore. So that one has to prepare separately. Apart from that, PI is always there.
Any idea on topics that the students will be given to speak on, and also any idea on what what are the type of topics that students should be expecting in the IFT VAT test?
Yes, sir. So, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
So initially in our time, the topics were a mixture of both very technical and HR topics. So some were asked the questions like subsidies, which were at that point of time given to by Delhi government, whether it would be good or not to give the subsidies. The question of privacy, which I think can be there this term as well, because there is a question of privacy this time as well. So relevant current topics are some important topics which are given in case of technical topics, but in case of HR the questions are somewhat very vague, in the sense that I was given the topic of what if moon was not there, so what if there was no moon. So these kind of questions would you can also expect to come across. But in case of extempore, the topic would either be somewhat technical, which if you don't know you can ask for another topic as also. But sometimes a question like this might also come that tell me why you should not do an MBA, which is just a test of how confident you are and how on the spot you can make something.
Okay. And about the VAT topics, the students should be preparing for current affairs, right? Will you advise this?
I think so. Students should be very much well thought of with what's going on in the world around 2 months at least, last 2 months. So these are the topics which are on the top of the mind of the professors as well, and they are doing some projects for the government. So that's what they feel one should have a perspective in, and that is why these topics, the current affair topics, should be kept in mind. Not only the facts but also your opinions regarding that. And I think the opinion part is rather uh, mostly ignored by students, which should not be. In case you are asked whether privacy, what is happening with the privacy through the Facebook, or whether Google is trying to dominate a country like Australia. So these topics, you should have an opinion whether corporate is, you're on the side of the corporate or the government, or you have a balance between the two. And why do you have such opinions? So yeah, that's it.
What about the HR part of the interview? I mean, how students should be preparing for HR interview? What are the kind of questions they can expect, specifically from HR part?
So sometimes there are two parts of the HR question. The one would be very generic in the terms that you would be asked why you want to do an MBA, or what your short-term or long-term goals are. So these questions are known to everyone. Everyone has been prepared for them. But a more important and crucial evaluation would be the part where you would be given situational questions, or the questions which are not you very generic. So in that sense, the one thing which would be very helpful to you would be that you should be able to know yourself very much. All the experiences that you have gone through your academic life or your work ex, you should be able to formulate this an incident on spot. I think that if you add some a bit exaggeration to your small incident also, that would work well, because in general we don't have that much of incident as demanded. So you should be having like, for example, a question like, where is one situation where you showed the team working skills. So I think these are some questions which require you to think about your life, and you should be able to prepare about 2-3 incidents like that, or the incident like where you are able to convince some people, a group of people, or the incident like where you were wrong and you had to accept it later on, and how do you face that. So these kind of questions would be always linked with either your college if you're a professor, but if you have a work ex, try to link it with your work experience. That would be helpful more.
All right. All right. So, what do you think? What is the role of current affairs? I mean, know, I have this opinion that if you're going for IFT interview, you need to be very good with the current affairs. They generally ask the questions, the based on the international affairs, and anything related to economic issues, and you see that those the terms that you were talking about, terms which are related to economic terms,
Mm.
the economic terms,
Yes,
and
sir.
anything related to the international economics. Do they ask these type of question? Do you have this experience?
Yes, sir. I would think the same because professors generally ask more economic questions or international trade related questions in IIFT than other B schools, is what I have experienced. And I think there is a reason for that because the professors of our college are working closely with government and UN for some life projects which are the topics of international concern. So because of this, they have always this opinion in the top of their mind, and they want to know what others have the opinions regarding the same topics. So they would want to ask you on the basis of the same. And also they want students to have a keen interest in academics throughout the MBA. So that's how they judged whether you would be interested or not. Because if you have an opinion, that would mean that you have studied and researched on your own on the topics. And so you would be interested further in the MBA on the same topics.
All right, all right. That's great, Shekhar. Anything else you would like to add on? The any key insight that you can give to the students who will be sitting for the interview the next week, or anything that you would like to give? Any inputs from your side?
But I would say that interview is all about where you lead the interview. So, firstly, don't lead the interview to the place where you don't know, you're unaware of. So, try to lead the interview towards your strength. Also, don't over exaggerate or don't uh, don't show the impression that you're very much overconfident. Be as humble as you can. At the same time, be as confident as you can. Even though you don't know a few answers, they might not expect you to know. But because of that, don't ruin those questions which you are expected to know. So be confident. However you feel your interview is going, it might turn out to be better if you were confident.
So even if you're not able to answer the question, you should not be losing the confidence in the interview, right?
Totally, totally, sir.
Because
In
they are
fact,
not
a few
expecting that
questions
you.
I was not able to answer. Later on, I discovered that I was not expected to as well. But that I did not let that affect my confidence. So that was the
That's
key.
great. That's great. Thank you so much, Shekhar. I just would like to inform all the students that we will be uploading a lot of videos on the interview in the upcoming days for all the students who are preparing for IFT. You can shoot your question in the comment section. We will be addressing those questions in our upcoming videos, and we will be asking all the doubts that you have with the Shekhar Suman, and so that we can you get answer to all of your queries regarding the IFT interview. If you are sitting for the IFT interview, do let us know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video,
Thank you, sir.
and
Thank you, sir.
thanks a lot, Shekhar, so giving your inputs to the students. I hope students will this will help students a lot. And guys, on LRDI Prep, you can get access to a lot of other interview exam preparation videos. We and Shekhar, someone have recorded a lot of videos on interview, right? How to address the questions like why MBA, how you should be addressing the questions on hobbies and interests. So those questions, those videos are also available on LRDI Prep. In addition to that, you can also cover your 100% syllabus of logical reasoning and data interpretation for CAT and other MBA and test exams on LRDI Prep. So subscribe to the channel, and do let us know about your questions in the query section. Thank you. See you then in the next part of the video. Thanks a lot.